This is an article written by Babuji to a letter to an Abhyasi. So it is titled The Way Up. Whatever I have is the safekeeping of my master, which is preserved for all of you. I wish to hand it over to you during my lifetime and go back light after being relieved of the burden. Truly speaking, whatever I have at present, except the safekeeping, is neither spirituality, nor reality, nor bliss. Now, if you ask me, what is my destination? My heart will reply, brothers, I have lost it too. Now I cannot see anything. So what can I say? When I see how much I have to teach, I begin to lose my senses and I want to pour it down into you. But such persons will be found only in ones and twos. And this is my lot. I feel that if I impart to anybody what my master has made me learn, and the process of learning still continues, that which I am learning now is left out. Now, what can be the method of not leaving it out? It is that people should attain a high state of merger. This is important. So if you want to learn everything of the master, it is that people should attain a high state of merger. If they integrate themselves completely, how wonderful it would be. If they integrate themselves completely, how wonderful it would be. The way for anyone to learn what I am being taught is to compel me to merge with him. The method to do this is what the intellectual class, next page, yeah. That's right. Yeah, page is slightly bent anyway. The way for anyone to learn what I am being taught is to compel me to merge with him. The method to do this is what the intellectual class brands as sin, that is meditation on the form of the Guru. Really, I want wood to make from it anything I like, but mostly I get furniture for the purpose. These are all fundamentals. We have to think deeply about these things. Mergence is the first problem of spirituality. Having attained this state, an Abhyasi can be called a beginner. Mind you, he says it's a beginner. We must raise our standard and start thinking at his level. Having attained this state, an Abhyasi can be called a beginner. The state of merger conveys the sense of a relation with the Supreme in which self is lost. As close as the relation is made, so the higher is the state of merger. It is the time and state when, if God so wills, the divine light is bestowed in the same proportion. The pause that follows the permanency of the state is called the life divine, but it does not end here. Ordinarily, the divine life follows mergence at each stage, but here it is something else. Man must always be in quest of mergence. Divine life comes itself simultaneously. The way to the divine life cannot be achieved without mergence. This is an important point for all of us seriously practicing yoga. This sentence we should try to assimilate. He says, the way to divine life cannot be achieved without mergence. Its end is the state of the master, and the emergence of the divine life in this last and final state is the state of Bhuma. The feeling of lightness is evidence to prove that the real state has begun to manifest itself. The feeling of love is also its proof. So two things, he says lightness and the feeling of love are the proof that the real state of the divine state is begun to manifest itself. It is necessary to control the speech and thought so that you may become deserving to attain higher states of mergence. Attainment of pleasure, tranquility, and peace are the sources of happiness to others. But to us, dissolution and the feeling, the pangs of love are the way to liberation. Next page. Good. And this is all, you're all familiar, but then this is always printed in our Patrika, but then we'll slowly read it again and again. This we all familiar, but we don't rest our thought and think seriously and make a serious attempt to put it into practice. So we have to read repeatedly to get that Sankalpa Shakti, to get that determination in our mind to follow the master. So we'll read again and again. So what I want is that all of you will rise as the sun of spirituality. How is it possible? Only when you do not let the shadow of the earth eclipse the sun. And when is that possible? When you orbit in such a way that your movement is direct. How can you find this orbit? How can you move direct? By keeping the destination in full view. How can you remember the destination? By becoming one with it. When can the goal remain in sight? When you become entirely His. When can you be His? When you lose yourself completely. Again, that is Marjans is talking. How can you lose yourself when there is no thought in the heart other than that of His? How is that possible? By practice. How is practice possible? Through love and interest. How can love and interest be engendered? By remembering constantly. How can constant remembrance be cultivated? Through determination. How is determination possible? When we gird up our loins to sacrifice our pleasures and shake off idleness. So I'll continue the next paragraph. Our master should always be a living being. He is well aware of all the points and problems of spirituality, and he is the one who has traveled the path. He knows how to make the traveler go on. Besides, his bones are immersed in Ram Nam, divine consciousness. The matter too is pure and sanctified. He has no earthly vibrations. The force that runs in him is naturally unalloyed, unmediated, and original. There is no trace of unwanted things. The movement of his mind becomes light, and it begins to work as ordered by him. The mind, when it becomes central, can do everything and is the real force, which if it turn towards anything, can perform all the miracles. How can this thing be born? In short, one should never lose his remembrance. Even a minute lost without his remembrance should be repented. I have explained everything in detail. Yet, my brother, people think that the spiritual condition of any individual is a miracle done by me. Just imagine, had I the power to produce miracles, all the Abhyasis would have attained high spiritual conditions. As a matter of fact, miracles are wrought by attachment, deep interest, and love in an Abhyasi. Similarly, water rains everywhere, but weeds grow somewhere flowers, and somewhere mere lime and sand is formed. As is the soil, so are the results. The sensitivity to feel generally does not develop in people as they do not apply themselves to it. They are very sensitive to worldly matters, and their minds are very alert in money-making activities. The reason is that they have deep interest in it, and therefore they understand it minutely. But where is their attachment to the spiritual side? They only join group meditation and then keep aloof. Neither do they care to adopt those qualities in life that may be conducive to spirituality, nor do they want to give up those that may be putting hindrances in the work. That is Pratikulyasa Varjanama Anukulyasa Sankalpam. That is discrimination which 24 hours, if we try to discriminate and think and act and speak, whether it is useful to our goal or not useful to our goal, there's a kind of constant remembrance. He says people are not practicing this sense of discrimination. Next paragraph. Systems like Buddhism and Jainism insist that we try to be as we should be. They stress upon principles and rules and regulations, and their observance is taken as a mark of spiritual advancement. If we look to ourselves, we will see that we do not want to give up our shortcomings. This is important. If we look to ourselves, we will see that we do not want to give up our shortcomings. Common problem with the ego. Ego will not allow us to look deeply into ourselves and see our shortcomings. Next article also I'm going to read, where he describes 3 examples where subtle ego, puts up a mighty block in your reaching the goal. I mean, after this, there's another short letter he has written. We'll read that also. We will not be conscious of our shortcomings. If we look to ourselves, we will see that we do not want to give up our shortcomings. The reason is that people do not crave for the goal. Otherwise, they would leave everything to pursue it. When our tendencies lean towards something, we start sensing many things about it and concentration grows. Then our energies become balanced and a kind of equipoise is achieved. As soon as this develops, sensitivity to feel dawns. And who is bothered with all this, my brother? Such persons are rare who are ready to do or die. And truly speaking, unto them reality reveals itself. Deep interest, craving, and love take us to wonders. All the abhyasis pass through various spiritual conditions without fail. But due to lack of interest, they do not feel them. And then they complain of it to me. When I ask someone to feel and observe, he replies that he tries all right, but does not feel it. I fail to understand what type of effort is that which does not lead to the desired result. When we think of our domestic problems, all aspects come to our view. What is the reason? It is because we are totally engrossed in them. So much so that we feel no rest till we arrive at a solution, because it pricks the heart. If conditions are washed, there is no reason that a seeker of normal understanding may not become aware of them. If a person is wholeheartedly attentive and follows the practice, it is sure that through observation, he will feel the real. But my brother, all this depends upon interest, and interest itself is a clever fish. Any questions on this? I mean, this is the points I will try to reiterate is he has stressed very much on mergence. That means our mind during meditation, it should achieve a state of absorption in that divine light itself. That is mergence. And mergence only is followed by the appearance of divine qualities in your mind. So the more intimacy you find with God inside you, the more the quality or depth of reality manifests in your mind. So that is the important point he's telling. And then he says, if we apply our concentration to study the condition, anybody can study the condition. That's what he says. So these are important points. And then he says, he stresses the importance of constant remembrance. And he stresses the importance that even if you lose the remembrance for a moment also, you should feel repentant for it. So that indicates how much of with what intensity or with what sincerity you feel that master is the real goal of human life. If you put that question to yourself, whether it has seized your mind, and whether it has, whether you really feel that he is the real goal of human life, and then whether you are devoting to it wholeheartedly with love and devotion. Those questions, if you put yourself, then we would have learned something from this letter, actually. Anything otherwise? Another very short, beautiful article is there, 2.5 pages, 2 pages. That's all.
Sir, I want to ask one thing.
Huh.
When he says that the symptom of divinity has landed is love, whether the love means compassion or it is due attachment.
What is your idea about love? I want to know.
It is due attachment only, and more attachment towards divine, love towards divine.
No, you're not. That is not a satisfactory idea you're having. Due attachment is different, no? I'm attached to my job so that they'll pay me properly. So how can you say that as love? Because he's paying me money, I want to do my surgery properly so that the hospital for which I'm working, they'll pay me. So unless I'm motivated to my job, they will not pay me, and my family will go hungry. So how can that you call that as love? I want what is your idea about love? If you know, then I'll tell.
Because we may not all the time come across people who are for whom the compassion is required. Means we have to feel compassion.
No, you're bringing two concepts, two words here. You are asking me what is love, and you're also talking about compassion. They are two different feelings, no? So what do you want? What clarification you want?
Master has said that divinity has occurred to us. The sign of that is one of the two is love. So what is that love particularly?
You tell me, have you loved anybody in your life?
Yeah.
Your wife or daughter?
I may not have expressed it, but miss, I fail in expressing those. That is the complaint I receive from them.
No, have you experienced that feeling in your life, in your personal life?
Yes, I do experience.
Then you know love what it is. Okay. Then you know how much you love the master. You clearly know, no?
Okay.
Clarifying my understanding on one point which is made is like all I need is wood for my preparation, but I get furniture. Is that referring to like we get into the system with our old sanskaras and our own thinking, and getting rid of that is very hard?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he says if you have certain presumptions and assumptions in your mind, God should be like this, and I should be like this, my goal should be like this. We come with a lot of knowledge in our mind, and we feel that we know quite a lot about God or reality, about everything. So, and we try to see that whenever master is trying to give you knowledge, whether that is fitting it into our assumptions or not. So the training for the master becomes difficult. It's just like if you have a plain wood, he can make a table or a chair or whatever it is. But is already in your mental thing, you have several notions which are unwilling to give up. Then it is like a furniture you're going and you're asking to reshape that furniture. That is one. And then it also means that you go to several temples or these things, and then you found several notions about this thing, it will be difficult for him to train people who do a lot of idol worship and they treat idol itself as God. That is another way. But then if a raw person has come who doesn't know anything, like myself and some of my friends, we had no knowledge about spirituality. We had no access to any books. And then we had no idea about spirituality, about surrender and all that. So we were absolute raw material. It will be easy for him to work like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shall we read this? This is a short article. Yeah. First page.
Yes.
So this is another short letter written by Babuji to an Abhyasi. It says the journey back to the source. Many critics agree that this world is transient and like a bubble of water, thereby meaning momentary or short-lived. So that's why they say that it is just like a water on the tip of a grass blade. Anytime the drop of water can drop off. The life is so transient. So why should, is it possible to find happiness in this transient life? This is the general question which people who are in search of happiness ask this question. And that leads to a kind of a little viveka that leads to search in a master and then starting of spiritual journey. So many critics agree that this world is transient and like a bubble of water, thereby meaning momentary or short-lived. Our elders also address this world as a shadow or the image of the Almighty. When this is realized, the journey to go back to the source commences. A tree is known by its fruit. We understand the value of light when we are in the dark, or the importance of summer when we face winters. It is the law of nature that when a thing separates from the source, it brings down the attributes and qualities of the source with it in a very subtle form. Had it not been so, going back to the source would not be possible. In our system, going back to the source is known as Kurbate Hak or Vasale Hak. In this return journey, umpteen numbers of ups and downs and dangers are also there. A true seeker of spirituality will certainly reach the destination with the help of the Divine Master. Regarding the dangers and ups and downs on the path of spirituality, may I draw your kind attention to something that you would also have observed in your daily life. In the field of spirituality, many people quit in the beginning itself. This is important. He talks about this in the third commandment also, that firm determination, fix up your attention, fix up your goal, which should be complete oneness. He says, in the return journey, umpteen number of ups and downs will be there. So thinking that the journey is easy, smooth, the sea is smooth for you to travel, that assumption is wrong, and that assumption leads to depression and lack of self-confidence also. So I'll read the next paragraph. Some people leave this path when they start enjoying meditation and their level of understanding is limited to miracles. A few more consider marjans, fanayat, as the ultimate and do not think it necessary to go beyond that. Those who are a bit wiser considered halat-e-fana as the final goal and remain satisfied. Mind you, at each stage you will get margins. In first knot you will get margins. In the second knot also you will get margins. So you will get multiple stages where you will have margins with that condition of that knot. And people think that's the end of the journey. Those who are a bit wiser consider halat-e-fana as the final goal and remain satisfied. Very rarely one finds a person who considers all the states mentioned above as just small stations on the onward journey in the field of spirituality, saying, Dilli abhi dur hai, meaning the destination is still far off. There are two prerequisites on the path. This is important. I want people to stress on this. The first is faith in the master. The second is craving in the seeker. If these two are there, we can reach the goal. Otherwise, Khuda Hafiz, goodbye. Why is craving essential? The more the craving, the more will be the opening of the heart. This will lead to a state of mergence, which will lead to the main goal. Faith in the Guru means that the seeker focuses all his attention by all means towards his Guru. It should reach to that extent where if the seeker wants to shift his attention to something or somebody else, even willingly, he will not be able to do so. This is the parameter, and if it is achieved, then we have hit the bullseye. I will repeat this again, because these two prerequisites we should have. There are two prerequisites on the path. The first is faith in the master. The second is craving in the seeker. If these two are there, we can reach the goal. Otherwise, Khuda Hafiz, goodbye. Why is craving essential? I'm reading the previous page. I mean, you must just hold on to this page. The more the craving, the more will be the opening of the heart. This will lead to the state of mergence, which will lead to the main goal. Now he's talking about faith. Faith in the Guru means that the seeker focuses all his attention by all means towards his Guru. It should reach to that extent where if the seeker wants to shift his attention to something or somebody else, even willingly, he will not be able to do so. This is the parameter, and if it is achieved, then we have hit the bullseye. This is a parameter for all us to achieve our progress in our spiritual life. Whether where are we when compared to this parameter, then we will know how much of faith we have in the Guru and the goal actually. Another important point that needs attention is about temptation. Temptation becomes subtler in proportion to the seeker's progress. The degree of subtleness of temptation is directly proportional to the subtleness of the seeker. And it won't be wrong if I call it as pure ego. To make it clearer, I would like to present three scenarios. In the first scenario, a person has progressed well in the field of spirituality, and then a thought occurs in his mind to earn a good amount of money to help the poor. That's how the ego comes up. In the second scenario, another person continues his womanizing nature, justifying that he sees God in everybody. And in the third scenario, some people create a false notion in their mind that the Guru is in front of them and they communicate with him. Many people are drowned in this practice. They think that they got intercommunication with their Guru, which he discusses elaborately in Reality at Dawn. In spiritual training, he talks about this, how the mind plays tricks. He says, unless the Manasu, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta are perfectly purified, you will not get impulse from liberated souls. And he adds another caveat somewhere that if your mind is so pure, you don't have to contact any liberated soul. You'll be connected directly with the ultimate itself. Until the mind is totally disciplined and the seeker of spirituality has developed complete non-attachment with the world, success is not possible. The minds of many are well trained to create the form of the Guru in front of them, which is nothing but deceiving themselves. If you find anything wrong in this letter, please let me know so that I can correct my thoughts. Also, the points that you like, please share them with others so that they can also be benefited. This is in short, I thought these two letters should motivate us to identify ourselves more with the master. This is very common. The minds of, I know three of our associates who, I know them very well. They have fallen into this trap actually. The minds of many are well trained to create the form of a Guru in front of them. Any questions on this? I think these two letters should be enough for today. It should sustain us for 1 week.
Yes, sir.
Easy, na? Vivek to, Dharmesh.
Yes. I
Oh.
think the earlier one, right? That the thought cannot, even willingly, he will not be able to do so.
Like suppose you want to see a cricket match or see a music program. Even if you want to see, your mind will not go there. That's the idea. I have a short book in which each idea covers one full page. It is the Ramakrishna Mission people have compiled some of the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda in a very thoughtful way. There are about 4 or 5 pages which are devoted to Raja Yoga and meditation. They are really beautiful, actually. Next time we'll read that. I can take the photograph and put it here. Since you have discovered this thing, it's very easy.
Anything else anyone wants to ask?
Actually, the other day, Vidyadhar Joshi was telling about the article on Hinduism, which Swami Vivekananda spoke on in Chicago. That article is also worthwhile reading. It's a fairly long article, but it's extremely beautiful article. That speech, actually. You can download it from the internet. It's just available. You can just play it. We'll see. Now it's not the time, but next time we read it, actually.
I have it downloaded somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, it's available online. You can just put Chicago address and then 5 articles are there about Hinduism, about Buddhism and Vedanta and all that. So we can read that also sometimes. It's really extremely beautiful. Especially with the rising awareness in the whole world about the beauty of Hinduism. That's worth studying.
It's almost like 80, 90 years. It's still valid.
Sanatana ka matlab hi eternal, no?
Mm.
The knowledge about the Atma which is residing in you, there is no birth or death for that. It is always eternal. So it's not applicable to a certain age or certain time. It's applicable as long as human being is alive. Okay then. और कुछ तो नहीं है ना, कुछ सवाल वाल और any comments about this or any other thing you want to read? Yeah, we'll meet next time then.